Last year, Brian Voss conquered New Jersey, winning the Johnny Petraglia Open. Today, 4 men will just let it roll. North Brunswick, New Jersey for CBS Sports coverage of the next stop on the PBA Tour. We're live at Carroll Air Lanes for the 1999 Brunswick Johnny Petraglia Open. Hello everyone, I'm Gary Seibel along with PBA Hall of Famer Marshall Holman as the PBA Tour swings into the Garden State. Well, 142 bowlers started this week's tournament, but Marshall, it was a different format that got us here to our championship round today.
Well, Gary, you're absolutely right. Normally, after the 18 games of qualifying, we cut to the top 24. The new format this week, after 18 games, we cut to 48. Then we made another cut on Friday afternoon to 32. Last night, 16 players. Now we're down to our final 4.
Our final 4, they'll be gunning for our #1 seed today, Rudy Kasimakis.
And Gary, you've heard me talk about the power players on tour, but Rudy Kasimakis, he is the ultimate example. Certainly the crowd favorite this week. Kasimakis used his emotion coupled with his high backswing and powerful release to take. Kasimakis will take on the winner of our shootout, consisting of #2 seeded Amleto Monacelli, who finds himself in the same qualifying position as last week, looking for his 19th career title. #3 seed is Doug Kent, one of the PBA's most consistent players with the physical skills and force on tour. The 4th seed, he's Ryan Shafer, the 1987 PBA Rookie of the Year, and he just keeps getting better and better.
We are ready to bowl. The prize money today. The winner, of course, will begin with our shootout round. Amleto Monacelli, #2 seed this week, will begin bowling. This is the 9th year for the Brunswick Johnny Petraglia Open here at Brunswick Carroll Air Lanes. Amleto finishing 3rd last week in our first CBS telecast of 1999 in the Empire State Open.
Monacelli playing more of the outside trajectory. Gary, we're going to see guys playing from the inside, deep inside part of the lane, and Amleto will be a little more toward the outside.
And Doug Kent will bowl next. He finished 3rd seed for this tournament.
Boy, and as you could see, Doug Kent in between the 4th and 5th arrow playing very deep in on the lanes. The reason he's doing that, Gary, is to stay away from the hang zone toward the outside of the lane. There's oil towards the outside. If the ball goes past about the 7th board, it will hang, won't get back to the pocket.
Doug, a 32-year-old from Canandaigua, New York, a right-hander. And he will convert to spare. Ryan Shafer, the 3rd bowler in our shootout round, will be stepping up on the approach. Bowled a 300 game this week, Marshall, as part of this tournament.
And Ryan Shafer, as I said in the opening, certainly has improved with each year that he's been on tour. Another one of our power players.
And Ryan starts out by knocking them all down, so Shafer begins the shootout round with the strike. Amleto Monacelli, Ryan Shafer with strikes, and Doug Kent begins with a spare in frame #1. Amleto Monacelli now in the 2nd frame from Barquisimeto, Venezuela. Also a right-hander, 37 years old.
Now, ball coming up light, leaving the 1, the 2, and the 8 pin. Yeah, the ball just never got back up the pocket, Gary. There's the 1, 2, and 8. Amleto needs to get the ball to the left side of the head pin. Shouldn't be too tough a spare for a player of his caliber.
Earlier this year, thoughts of retirement for Amleto Monacelli. Had sciatic nerve problems, a sore shoulder. Converts the spare, goes back home to Venezuela, talks to his coach back in his home country, Rudy Cardenas. They straighten out a couple things. He comes back with a much better mental attitude.
Doug Kent looking for his first strike of the match here in the 2nd frame. Everything is right even.
And Doug Kent picks up his first strike of the shootout round in the second frame. So Ryan Shafer now looks to take the lead. He can open up with a double if he can pick up this strike.
And it's interesting to see each of the players. They're all what I would call strength players. Doug Kent playing much deeper than Amleto, and Ryan Shafer sort of right in the middle.
Ryan married in December, his lovely wife Michelle. And Ryan does take the lead. Starts it out with a two-bagger in the second frame of the shootout round.
Ryan Shafer taking advantage of playing the lanes properly. Ball goes over the 16 board out to about 11. Comes back high flush in the pocket. Takes care of all the pins.
Monacelli in the third. And leaves a solid 10-pin, Marshall.
Good shot from Monacelli. Just ball coming in a little bit late. Finds himself 11 pins down to Shafer right now. He'll throw hard and straight at the 10-pin.
And Amleto Monacelli converts in the third frame.
Now Kent with the opportunity to tie the match up here in the third frame. Shafer's got a double. Doug Kent working on a strike.
And no question, Marshall, Doug Kent loved the sport of bowling. About a month and a half ago, he and a longtime friend, a partner, went into the bowling center business. Bought a bowling center about a month and a half ago in Newark, New York. And Doug believe a 10-pin.
And that's a solid 10 for Doug. 6-pin wrapping around the bottom of the 10. A shot that he thought was going to strike, but watch the 6 down around the bottom of the 10-pin. All he can do is throw hard and straight, pick this up, and try and start a string in the fourth frame.
Doug Kent converts in the third frame, and Ryan Shafer will look to pick up his third consecutive strike. He started out the shootout. And Marshall, however it works, it works. Ryan Shafer with a three-bagger has taken the early lead in the Brunswick Johnny Petraglia Open.
CBS.
Welcome back. Ryan Shafer with an early Monacelli. Now the Friday night recap where the position round determined who made today's TV finals.
And it was Rudy Kasimakis, 8-0 in match play last night. He breezed through the field to the tournament lead. And Ryan Shafer, this strike in the 8th frame helped to secure his spot on our shootout.
Full seed, another big effort from Amleto Monacelli, moving up to the second spot tonight. A recap, and that is Kathy Kubanak, general manager here in Carolier Lanes. A great tournament this week, thanks to Kathy and her staff. Back to bowling now. The fourth frame, Amleto Monacelli, down by 21 pins at this point to Ryan Shafer.
And Amleto Monacelli, certainly the class of the field. 18 career PBA titles. Our other players have 2 between them.
Monacelli looking to get back on track. That's certainly the way to do it with a strike in the fourth frame.
Doug Kent now up in the fourth. And just take a look at how far to the left he sets the ball down on the lane. Ball going between the 5th and 6th arrows. Very, very far inside. And makes the ball come back and hit.
And a strike for Kent as well in the fourth frame.
A great angle to watch Doug Kent as he throws the ball around the board. 10-pin gets taken care of at the last, and he knows it's close. Will it carry? That would be a yes.
Considered to be one of the more versatile players. Ryan Shafer, who's looking to remain perfect, and does. A four-bagger for Shafer.
And more confidence for Ryan Shafer with every strike that he throws.
Amleto Monacelli looking to pick up his strike. Italian-born wife Teresa residing in Venezuela with their 2.5-year-old son. And Monacelli comes through, so Marshall Amleto Monacelli is heating up as well. They're both going to have to, Monacelli and Kent, to keep up with Shafer at this point.
Well, there's no doubt about that. With Shafer striking in all the first 4 frames, Monacelli puts himself back within 21 pins. Doug Kent, 30 down with a strike here, can change that to 20.
Doug finished 7th here in the Brunswick Johnny Petraglia Open last year. And they're all heating up. That's a double for Kent. Access all the late.
Now can Shafer answer? Kent has put pressure with 4 in a row. Came over there, Gary, but it went in front of the 10-pin. It's 4 in a row for Ryan Shafer, and then a 10-pin. Watches the head pin, goes to the right, comes back hard, but in front of that 10-pin. He's trying to help it down, but not able to.
Shafer thought he had a shot. Wishful thinking as he looks to pick up the 10-pin in the 5th frame.
And he adds a little drama to making the 10-pin. That ball just barely touched it. Very close to missing this. Just catches a little bit of the left-hand side of that 10-pin. That's all you need.
Now we move on to the 6th frame. There you take a look at Monacelli down by 20 to Shafer. And he leaves the 10-pin as well. And Marshall, he's going to have to start making those strikes once again if he wants to remain competitive in this match.
Well, and there's absolutely nothing to fault Amleto Monacelli on that particular shot. That was very, very well executed. Unfortunately, it's just a solid 10. It's just one of the things that professional bowlers have to deal with.
And converts in the 6th, which will send Doug Kent up on the approach. And Kent working on a 2-bagger right now. Looks to remain close to Ryan Shafer. Right now, Kent down by 19 to Shafer and needs this one desperately.
There's 3 in a row for Doug Kent. Only 9 pins in the lead for Ryan Shafer, so game certainly competitive. And Monacelli is not out of this game, Gary.
Both Monacelli and Kent sit waiting for the leader at the present time. Ryan Shafer, who was PBA Rookie of the Year in 1987, Marshall, the same year you were Bowler of the Year.
A couple years ago.
Well, actually more than a couple. There's a strike for Shafer. So Ryan Shafer keeps the heat on here, and the Brunswick Johnny Petraglia Open. We'll be back.
My dentist says this work.
Welcome back. Well, today's trip down memory lane brings us to a game of different sorts.
How many of those big balls do you get per turn?
You get 2 if you get a spare, and 1 you get a strike.
Number 1, if you bowl 801 in 3 games, what's your average game? What is your average?
267.
Will the real Johnny Petraglia please stand up?
We got it.
Well, there's a look at the thoroughly modern Johnny Petraglia. What a career, Marshall.
One of the greatest bowlers of all time, Johnny Petraglia, certainly with the competitive player. Now, this week is the first ever Johnny Petraglia Youth Tournament was held. A select group of 64 high school students competed here in North Brunswick in what will be an annual event. And Johnny Petraglia, great guy.
Look at the scoreboard, and you see Ryan down by just 9. Starting things out in the 7th frame with Molly up on the approach. There's his first ball, and that's all he's going to need in the 7th.
And Doug Kent coming up, and Gary in an opportunity to take the lead. He's 9 pins down, strike here. He would go into the lead and really put a lot of pressure on Shafer.
Kent looking for the lead, and Marshall, he has taken it in the 7th frame. So a new leader now. It's Doug Kent by only 1 pin over Ryan Shafer.
And solid 9 for Ryan Shafer. Did except Gary possibly a little slow on the speed. The ball hooked a little too high into the pocket, went right past the 9 pin. Watch the balls, it just totally avoids the 9. Nothing comes over to help it out. One of the tough breaks in bowling. With the strong balls, even on Brunswick's 3-pound, 10-ounce pro pins, balls have little respect.
And Shafer, one of the few bowlers to bowl a 300 game this week. converts the spare.
Now it comes a time for Monacelli really to get this particular strike. It's a 22 pin and shoot 248 if he takes all the way out. So very much in the match, but needs this one. And once again, the solid 10 as he puts up his arms as if to say, what do I have to do? And Amleto, I suggest just keep making those great shots. You'll watch the 6 pin, second to the right, around the bottom of the 10. Here's the reaction of Amleto Monacelli, and certainly disappointment is the word to use.
Monacelli converts in the 8th frame, and Marshall, interestingly enough, Monacelli and our top seed, Rudy Kasimakis, would not even have made our championship round today if we didn't have this different format.
Yeah, they were not in the top 24 after the 18 games of qualifying. They did make the top 48, and this format really has played a very, very large role in deciding our top 4.
Kent clings to a 1-pin lead and now increases his chances of victory with a big strike, and that now is 5 in a row for Doug Kent.
He increased his lead to 11 over Ryan Shafer and 32 over Monacelli. And Shafer must answer back, as Doug Kent, who I mentioned earlier, has the skills to be a dominant tour. And really, it is his time. Slow again. 3-6-10 for Shafer. That ball was not only slow, but it was left of his target, Gary, and really a poor shot.
Wound up as the feed looks to pick up the spare.
And he does a good job of making the spare, but he knows that he did not make a good shot.
Amleto Monacelli up now, and we take a look at this statistic here, Marshall. It looks like you're going to drop out of 5th place as Amleto Monacelli will pass you in career earnings all time.
More power to him, but right now he wants to strike on this ball, and he does. Having no problem with lane 35 and making good shots on 36, but Monacelli unable to carry that 10-pin. That's the reason he's in a big 32-pin deficit position.
Well, more power to him, more money to him as well after today's Brunswick Johnny Petraglia Open. But right now, it is Doug Kent who is sitting on top of a 14-pin lead over his closest competitor, Ryan Shafer, with Amleto Monacelli down by 32. Here's Kent in the 9th frame.
Now there's that same solid 10 that has plagued Monacelli. Doug Kent with a strike in the 9th frame could have just about put his opposition away. Now he leaves him a little glimmer of hope. As you see that 10-pin, we've seen it many times right around the bottom, the 6 around the bottom of the 10, and disappointment. But you must concentrate, pick up the 10-pin, and go on with your business. And
Doug Kent continues to lead. Ryan Shafer now steps onto the approach in the 9th frame. And as you take a look, Kent stretching that lead just a bit. Shafer down by 13, Monacelli down by 31.
And he makes a better shot on lane 35. Came in and left a solid 9 the previous from on 35. Now it's a solid 10. Been coming in sort of ebb and flow in this particular match. Not many strikes early, then strikes in the middle of the game. Now struggling just to make that 10-pin.
Tomorrow it's USTA tennis. Checking out the scoreboard once again. A strike from Monacelli and Shafer working on strikes.
Well, Amleto strikes in the 10th frame, but he'll need to throw the next 2 strikes, and then he'll have to have help from Doug Kent. Kent working at a 239 pace, and Little Monacelli, the best he can do, 228. Ryan Shafer, 235 will be the best if he strikes out.
Last year, Monacelli entered the Brunswick Johnny Petraglia Open as the 2nd seed, wound up finishing 3rd. He was the 2nd seed once again this year, Marshall, and may very well wind up being 3rd again.
That's not what he wants. Needs this one. Boy, he's bowled a great game, Gary. He left those solid 10s. He stares down those pins. You know he's got to be thinking, why couldn't I have carried just one of those solid 10s earlier? He would have really been into this match. This one's solid in the pocket. 10-pin goes away soon, and the reaction to Monacelli, I still have a chance.
And now only down 11 pins.
And it leaves the 3-6-10. It'll be 225 for Amleto Monacelli. Doug Kent needs to shoot 236. That will shut out his opposition. For him to do that, he needs to fill 17 pins in the 10th frame. So if he were to go 9 spare and then get 8, that would do it. He'd like to throw a strike right here and just end it. Fortunately, that ball started early. Had it left of his target, very lucky only to have the 4-pin staring him down right now. Watch as this ball comes in very, very high, Gary. 10-pin, the last one to fall. And with these heavier pins, unusual to break down the splits when you come in high.
Kent needs a spare and then 8 pins to win.
Well, that's the easy part. Makes the spare and really shouldn't have any problem. Should be able to put the ball in the pocket. With that spare, that closes out Amleto Monacelli's chances of winning. 8 pins will shut out Ryan Shafer.
Kent taking his time. He knows what he needs. Monacelli possibly reflecting on what might have been and looking ahead to the future.
Hard and straight. He gets 6. He went hard and straight. Instead of going with his strike shot, he decided, I'm just going to throw hard at that head pin. I know I can get at least 8 doing that. Maybe a very big tactical mistake. Shafer now with 3 strikes can shoot 235. Doug Kent just shot 234. Can he come through the biggest 3 shots of his career?
He has to strike out to win, but Marshall, he has bowled a 300 game in this house this week. Anything's possible.
Well, he started with the first 4. We'll just wait and see. Helped it, helped the ball, did not trust his swing. Doug Kent will be your winner.
Doug Kent breathing a sigh of relief.
Ball through the heart. There's the 3, the 6, and the 10. And the reaction of Ryan Shafer, oh gosh, such a great opportunity. What did I do?
Shafer converts the spare, but that's not going to help him here. Doug Kent, as you said, Marshall, possibly a tactical mistake, but it was out in his favor on this day.
Well, Doug Kent was lucky, and believe me, he knows.
Doug Kent is our winner. CBS Sports coverage of the 1999 Brunswick Johnny Petraglia will continue after this message and a word from your local station. Doug Kent with a 9-pin win. Take the shootout round. Johnny. Coming up, ever PBA outdoor event, the New York City PBA Experience next Saturday at 3. Of course, Pro-Am's qualifying rounds and match play will take place in Coram, New York. Our #1 seed, Rudy Kasimakis, is getting prepared for his match against Doug Kent. Well, in addition to today's 4 finalists, 12 other bowlers made it to the final round of match play using this week's format. At #6, PBA Hall of Famer defending. Get a grip. Well, a phrase we hear from time to time in our daily lives, but in bowling it takes on a whole different meaning. To explain, here's Marshall Holman with our tip of the week.
While it's unlikely that any 2 bowlers will have exactly the same grip, there are 3 general categories that grips fall into. There's the conventional, the semi-finger, and the fingertip grip. The conventional grip is generally used when you first start bowling. and preferred by new or recreational bowlers. Most of your finger is in the ball, yielding more control and a more secure grip overall. The semi-fingertip and the fingertip grips are used by the more serious bowler. Bowlers looking for added performance and more impact on the ball will rely on these grips. They allow you to have more power and control over the ball with less of your finger in the hole. The most important concept to keep in mind when determining your grip is to choose what's most comfortable for you and your game. If you're just starting out, go with the conventional. But if you feel you're ready to put more power into your game, then go with the semi-fingertip or the fingertip grip.
Well, our two bowlers will use their grips of choice as they hope to get a grip on the first place check-in trophy. Doug Kent takes on top seed Rudy Kasimakis in the championship match coming up next. Welcome back to North Brunswick, New Jersey, getting set for our championship match between Doug Kent and Rudy Kasimakis. And Doug Kent, low-key, Rudy Kasimakis, a fireball. Marshall, what's the difference, and does he have an advantage?
Well, Doug Kent is a power player. Rudy Kasimakis is a mega power player. We haven't seen anything like him before.
All right, we're ready now. We're going to play some hardball in the championship match here. There you take a look at Rudy Kasimakis, #1 seed in this year's Brunswick Johnny Petraglia Open. He will start the championship match. A huge high backswing with a large, massive forearm, and that calls for a strike in frame #1.
Rudy likes to get excited. He grew up as an action bowler in New York, bowling heads up, mano a mano, and he loves this format.
Doug Kent on the approach, making it through the shootout round, takes on Kasimakis now.
High flush in the pocket for Kent, strike for Kasimakis, all even after one. Doug Kent with only 2 PBA titles, plus an American Bowling Congress Masters victory. Kasimakis Rudy looking for his very, very first. A ball sliding by the head pin, leading the 2 and the 5. Gary, he's switching ball, Kent, to go harder at the 2 and the 5. Just want to put the ball right in between the two of them.
Certainly one of his strong points is versatility. For in-depth...
Who do you think they like, Gary, as they chant Rudy, Rudy, Rudy?
A big fan favorite here. Take a look, Marshall, at where Kasimakis is standing right now. Right
in front of the ball return, enabling him to get in deep enough so he can get the right trajectory down the lane. It's a double for Kasimakis. Rudy Kasimakis, look where that arm swing is, way above his head, and then just rifles through it. But he smoothed his game down. Used to be a little more herky-jerky.
Kasimakis still looking for his first PBA national title, has a regional title. He was second in 1998 to PBA Rookie of the Year Chris Barnes in the PBA Flagship Open in Erie, Pennsylvania.
Solid 9. We saw a lot of them this week, and a lot of them were thrown by that man. Well, last game it was Ryan Shafer's ball that was cutting right past the 9 pin, showing no respect. This time, Rudy Kasimakis.
Originally from Long Island, now resides in Pennsylvania. Kasimakis packs a wallop, 5'8", 250 pounds. Doug Kent, a little bit taller, not quite as heavy. At the scoreboard, you take a look right now with Doug Kent on the approach. Kent down by 9 early, picks up the strike.
Now time for Kent to make the adjustment on lane 35. And Gary, in my estimation, what he didn't do the previous frame was catch it at the bottom of the swing. Didn't get the fingers in order to get the ball back up to the 1-3 pocket.
Doug Kent is making his first championship round appearance in 1999. He had TV round appearances in 1998. down by 9 to Kasimakis.
Well, not anymore. 1 pin up, and oh, all right, Rudy, it's your turn. Little gamesmanship from Doug Kent. And that's a direct response, that gamesmanship, to what Rudy does. What a great shot, powerful shot, and all right, Rudy, your turn.
Marshall, I don't recall seeing Doug Kent ever fired up this much, but it's all because of Rudy Kasimakis and his type of personality.
Yes, you're right, as he comes in just a little bit high, leaving the 4-pin. Need to keep the speed up on that ball, Kasimakis does.
Kasimakis looks a bit like a wrestler, and that is one of his favorite sports, pro wrestling. In fact, he's going to the Garden where this evening in New York City to watch Goldberg and Stone Cold Steve Austin.
He's not going to participate?
If you'd like to ask him that, you can.
Right now, it's all concentration here in the 5th frame, down by Doug Kent.
Although I doubt he'd say anything bad to you, Marshall. You and Mark left to idols.
Here comes a messenger. It went in front of the 10-pin. The powerful delivery. Watch the head pin. It comes off the sideboard. It looks like it's got to touch that 10. It does, but not enough to knock it down. In the last telecast, he missed a 10-pin that cost him the match. Not this time.
Kent working on a couple of strikes. Kasimakis on consecutive spares. So Doug Kent up by 3 at this point in the...
And now it's a 13-pin lead for Kent. And Kasimakis this year finished second to Chris Barnes in Erie, 214 to 197. Right now, Doug Kent makes a 13-pin lead, hoping to take it to 23 in the 6th frame. And the same shot he threw in the 2nd frame. The 2-pin falls out of it, but it's a 5-pin coming in light.
Doug Kent needing to pick this up to maintain a 12-pin lead presently over Kasimakis in the 5th. Doug Kent, our leader, midway through our chain match.
The PBA presents How to Bowl.
Doug Kent up by 12 pins, our championship match. Let's take a look at the next 3 weeks on our tour. Next week, we're in New York City, first ever outdoor PBA experience, and that should be great from Bryant Park. And then we also have the American Bowling. There's a winner from the first 9 tour telecast, plus AC Delco defending champ Steve Hoskins will automatically qualify for the match play portion of the AC Delco All-Star Classic, the last telecast of our spring-summer tour. Back to bowling in the 6th frame. Here's our top seed, Rudy Kasimakis.
Gotta hurry. The 1, the 2, the 4, the 10, and a mistake for Rudy Kasimakis.
You know, Kasimakis beat Kent in a tournament here at Carolier Lanes 10 years ago, 300 to 290 in a New Brisbane tournament.
Needs to hit this side of the pin, the left of the head, and the 10. And he hooks by just a little bit, leaving the 1 and the 10 pin. He's now have 111 in the 6th frame, finds himself 28 pins down. Ball left of the head pin, never had a chance.
Kasimakis steps up in the 7th, final down by 28 pins.
Well, back on track for Kasimakis, but will it be too late?
Right now, Doug Kent is in the driver's seat, looking to pin Kasimakis, as it were.
Great shot for Doug Kent, trying to keep his emotions down now. No more bantering back with Kasimakis, not after that shot. Needs to think about the importance of the 8th frame and a possible 38-pin lead. Kasimakis right now with a 231 if he strikes all the way out. Doug Kent with a strike here would be in the 220s.
Kent is looking for his 3rd PBA title.
This is a lane he's had some trouble on, hasn't been able to get the ball to hook back up to the pocket, and my gosh, talk about trouble. There's a 1, 2 in the 4th, and basically air ball for Kent in a situation where he really had a chance to put big-time pressure on Kasimakis. Ball hits the 3-pin right in the face. There's the 1, 2 in the 4, and Doug Kent knows what a bad shot that was.
One of the things about Kent, though, Marshall, being the fact that he is able to adjust immediately, is very consistent in his play and also very versatile in his approach to the game.
Unfortunately, a darn good spare shooter as well, Gary. He picks up the spare, but you know, you don't want to give your opposition a chance to get back into the match like that. Kent had a chance to really jump all over Kasimakis, didn't do it. 28 pins down, Kasimakis can take it to an 18-pin deficit with a strike in the 8th frame. Left the washout last time. The 4-pin does fall out, but really needed a strike on that shot. Ball coming in just a little bit high. Watches the 4-pin just barely gets tripped out. Hard and straight at the 9-pin.
Well, tonight on CBS begins with a special edition of 48 Hours. Is Kasimakis.
And for Rudy Kasimakis, it's looking more and more like another second-place finish for him. With a spare here, striking under the best he can do, he'll need a lot of help from Doug Kent. Doug Kent needs to get up in the 9th and 10th frame. Just fill some frames. He's your winner.
And a look at the leaderboard for the Greater Greensboro Chrysler Classic, and Jesper Parnevik keeps pouring it on. 17 under par. Jim Furyk just a stroke behind.
For Doug Kent, it's very simple. 1 mark in the next 2 frames. I'm sure Doug would preferably do it right here. He does. He needs 1 pin. A great release from Doug Kent. He knows that ball's high flush. That's my tournament.
He's 6 pins on 2 balls on the Petraglia Open. Maybe that was a sign early on, Marshall, where he got a little bit fired up with Kasimakis.
He was going back and forth with him as far as emotions were concerned early. We'll see a lot of very happy, smiling emotions from Doug Kent after that shot. He said, is that enough? Yes, that's definitely enough.
And Doug Kent is our winner in the Brunswick Johnny Petraglia Open for 1999. A great performance. We'll be back with more in just a moment.
When I was a kid, my father...
Welcome back. Doug Kent, our winner today. Right now, he is standing by with Marshall Holman. Marshall?
Thank you very much, Gary. I'm here with Richard DeFlorio, the Regional Vice President for Brunswick, with the check presentation.
Thank you very much. Congratulations, Doug. It's a pleasure to watch you bowl. And on behalf of Brunswick, it's my pleasure to be able to present you with this check for $26,000. Congratulations. A nice bowl.